free speech, the right to dissent, the right to voice an opinion that may be unpopular. But I think a second and equally as important issue is the right of people, in this case my constituents, to be represented by someone they chose.
With Damp-Rid. Damp-Rid's natural ingredients attract and trap excess moisture, eliminating musty odors. You can actually see it work. Damp-Rid is easy to use. Place it virtually anywhere for a drier, cleaner, long-lasting freshness.
Thanks, Mom.
Your whole family will notice, so breathe easier with Damp-Rid.
$7. We're down to $43. All right. Well, so it's really good. Let's start with a sort of a large ideological question.
Well, for me, conservatism, as it pertains
Look at my
to our
arms,
country,
Daddy.
is fiscal. We have to be strong and secure and get rid of our debt. The military has to be powerful and not necessarily used, but very powerful. I'm on the sort of a little bit social side of conservative when it comes. I want people to be taken care of from a health care standpoint, but to do that, we have to be strong. I want to save Social Security without cuts. I want a strong country, and to me, conservative means a strong country with very little debt.
Some of real conservative. When you hear that, someone will argue on social policies that you're not a real conservative. Is it just different brands of conservatism that's out there and you just have a different brand, or do you think they have a point?
Well, I think they have a point from years ago, but they also have that same point with Ronald Reagan, who was a Democrat absolutely with a liberal bent. And Ronald Reagan became, not only a Republican, but a pretty conservative Republican. Not the most, but a pretty conservative Republican. And he's somebody that I actually knew and liked, and he liked me, and I worked with him and helped him. But I think that when you get right down to it, people get involved on different issues. And I'm pro-life, and I was begrudgingly the other way. But I have to say, when those questions were asked, and that was many, many years ago, I wasn't a politician, and it was like a question that was never asked to me. As a real estate developer, and as what turned out to be a world-class businessman based on what I've done, you don't ask questions about, gee, are you pro-choice, are you pro-life? It's just something that is not really discussed. As a politician, they discuss it all the time. I've always hated the concept of abortion, always hated it. And through various things and seeing various things, I've totally evolved on that issue, and I'm pro-life.
Should some form of abortion always be legal?
Well, to me, I have exceptions. Rape, incest, if the mother is going to die, and Ronald Reagan had those same exceptions, and many Republicans have those same exceptions. But I say rape, incest.
You said life of the mother. What about health of the mother?
Well, I said actually if the mother's close to death, and I'm talking about death, if because then you sort of say like, well, maybe.
Well, that's the line here. What is the constitutional right between the mother and the unborn child? Whose constitutional rights matter more?
My statement on that happens to be if the mother will die, and you're going to know that. And the problem with the life, if you say life, what does life mean? You have a cold and you're going to end up having an abortion. So I have the three exceptions, and pretty much the standard three exceptions that many Republicans have.
This is going to be a litmus test for the Supreme Court nominees that you pick.
Well, I think I would certainly be asking them the question, and I think it would be, if not a litmus test, it would certainly be helpful in terms of my choices. I mean, I want great jurists, I want great intellects, and certainly that would be helpful to me.
You were somewhat defending Planned Parenthood earlier this week. It struck me that there was a time Planned Parenthood was not seen as a very political organization. Were you ever a donor?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but it's possible. I give to so many, Chuck. I give to so many organizations over the years, hundreds of millions of dollars, and so I don't know. I don't think so, but it's possible somewhere.
It wouldn't have surprised you if you had.
Well, it could be. Look, Planned Parenthood has to stop with the abortions. It's a lot of people consider it an abortion clinic. I think those tapes that I saw over the 5 tapes or the 6 tapes, I think they were outrageous. I think they were terrible, disgusting by any standpoint. And they have to stop.
Does it bother you that they were edited? Do you think did.
Well, I don't know
Yeah,
about
yeah.
them being edited. I mean, all I did, I saw, whatever I saw
What
was
you
terrible.
saw, yeah.
I mean, it was terrible. And in particular, I didn't like the attitude of the people. They talked about it almost like we're making widgets or gadgets, and it was inappropriate. So I didn't like what I saw. I didn't like the doctors or whoever they were talking about it. They talked about it like we're doing cars or something.
But you
and
seem
I
to
thought
be
it was
hesitant about this idea of totally saying, let's shut down Planned Parenthood,
Right,
let's
well-
defund it, let's not let the federal government give money to it.
Women's health issues to me are very important. I cherish women. I mean, my mother was this incredible woman. I have great children. I have a great wife. I cherish women. I understand the importance of women. I have such respect for women. I have many executives in my organization that are women that frankly get paid more than many of my men executives. I mean, they've done great with me. Early on, when I was building major towers, I had women in charge of a couple of them, and really big ones and really important ones, and that was unheard of in the construction industry. If you look back 30 years, that was like totally unheard of. So I understand women, and women's health issues are very important to me. If you look at Jeb Bush from last week, when he was essentially saying, let's not give money to women's health issues, he's made so many flubs, I don't even understand it. And I actually think that that statement is his 47%. When Romney did the 47%, the now famous 47% statement.
He did say he misspoke.
Well, I know. What, 5 hours later he said I misspoke, meaning he misspoke. I didn't misspeak. So to me, women's health issues are very important.
So you would not shut down, you don't think there should be a government shutdown over Planned Parenthood?
I wouldn't fund it if they have the abortion going on, and it's been a big factor. Now, you hear all different numbers. They say it's 3%,
Right.
Other people say it's 85%. That's a big difference, so I'd certainly look into it.
Well, would you
have to
shut down the
keep-
government over this dispute?
I would not fund if they're doing abortions.
But as you know, there could be a stalemate in Congress. Is it worth shutting down the government?
It's something I'd have to think about, to be honest with you. I don't want to give a hard and fast answer to that. It bothers me greatly that they're doing the abortions. At the same time, women's health issues are, very important to me. Now, you have a lot of other people that do that without the abortion clinic.
Right.
Because they really are to a large extent, an abortion clinic. I also want to know, and this wouldn't have the effect because if it's 3% or 80%, but it would be interesting to know what is the number. They say it's 3%, other people say it's 80 and 85%. That's an awfully big spread.
Let's go foreign affairs. You want to knock the hell out of ISIS. How?
Well, I want to take away their wealth. And as you know, for years I've been saying, don't go into Iraq. They went into Iraq, they destabilized the Middle East, it was a big mistake. Okay, now we're there, and you have ISIS. And I said this was going to happen. I said Iran will take over Iraq, which is happening, as sure as you're sitting there. And ISIS is taking over a lot of the oil in certain areas of Iraq. And I said, you take away their wealth. You go and knock the hell out of the oil, take back the oil. We take over the oil, which we should have done in the first place.
It's going to take ground troops.
If you
What you're talking about is ground
It's
troops.
okay.
Maybe
We're
25,000?
going to circle it. We're
How
going to
many?
circle it. We're going to have so much money. And what I would do with the money that we make, which would be tremendous, I would take care of the soldiers that were killed, the families of the soldiers that were killed, the soldiers, the wounded warriors that are, I love them. And they're walking all over the streets of New York, all over the streets of every city without arms, without legs, and worse than that. And I would take care of them. They
So
paid a
America
big
should take
price.
over these oil fields. Shouldn't be given to the Iraqis?
We can give them something, but we should definitely take back money for our soldiers. We've had soldiers that were decimated, so badly hurt, the wounded warriors, and killed, of course. But we've had soldiers that were so badly hurt and killed, I want their families to get something, because we got nothing out of that war. We spent $2 trillion, Chuck. We had thousands of people killed, wounded warriors all over the place. They got nothing, and they can't even say we had a victory.
Who do you talk to for military advice right now?
Well, I watch the shows. I mean, I really see a lot of great, when you watch your show and all of the other shows, and you have the generals, and, and you have certain people that
But is there somebody, is there a go-to for you?
probably there are two
every
or three.
presidential candidate has a
Yeah,
go-to.
Probably there are 2 or 3. I mean, I like Bolton. I think he's tough cookie, knows what he's talking about. Jacobs is a
You
good
mean
guy.
Ambassador John Bolton?
Yes.
You
I
mean
think
Colonel
he's
Jack
perfect.
Jacobs?
Colonel Jack Jacobs is a good guy, and I see him on occasion. I actually had dinner. I was given a very high award by the Marines at the Waldorf Astoria a couple of months ago. And your new head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the head Marine, was a very impressive guy. He just got pointed. I think that he will do a terrific job.
Let me, you wrote this in 2011 about Saudi Arabia. It's the world's biggest funder of terrorism. Saudi Arabia funnels our petrodollars, our very own money, to fund the terrorists that seek to destroy our people while the Saudis rely on us to protect them. What are U.S.-Saudi relations going to look like under a Trump administration?
Well, one thing they look like, first of all, I get along very well. They pay me millions of dollars for apartments, okay? I like that. So, and so does China, and so does Mexico, and so does a lot of other people, all right? I make a tremendous amount of money from selling very wealthy people from other parts of the world and from the United States, apartments and other things. They lease tremendous office space from me. So does China. The biggest bank in the world is in my building, one of my buildings. So it's not that I don't get along with all of it. I get along with them, but their leaders are much smarter than our leaders, Chuck, and like from a different planet. Saudi Arabia makes $1 billion a day. Okay, they make $1 billion a day. Saudi Arabia, if it weren't for us, they wouldn't be there. They wouldn't exist. They should pay us. It's like Kuwait. When Kuwait had the problem with Saddam Hussein, like the ultimate problem, they were taken over. We go in, we fight.
We were paid for that war. They did. We had other countries that
We
paid back
had
some stuff.
nothing. And you know, I met the Kuwaitis
Secretary Baker did collect a lot of money.
a lot, but nothing compared to what we spent. Nothing compared to what we spent. And I'll never forget, shortly after the war, the Kuwaiti fund came to see me, and they wanted to do a deal. And I said, we have a great deal in the United States. They go, no, 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 not the United States, not the United States. We don't want to invest in the United States. We gave them back their country.
But to go back to Saudi Arabia, if they're a funder of terrorists, why should we have diplomatic relations with them at home?
Well, I'm not a big fan.
Should we be
I'm
holding
just-
them more accountable?
Well,
They treat women poorly.
The primary reason we're with Saudi Arabia is because we need the oil. Now we don't need the oil so much. And if we let our people really go, we wouldn't need the oil at all, and we could let everybody else fight it out. Look, Saudi Arabia is going to be in big trouble pretty soon, and they're going to need help. Because if you look at Yemen and you look at that border,